We're recording.
All right, so this is about the time we expected John to be crossing into Springer Mountain around this time. Obviously, we were going to have a big hurrah, and so many of you guys were excited about that. We were excited about throwing you a big party, having a band, and a cookout.
So this video is about making me feel bad.
Obviously, he's been home now for a few weeks, and I'll tell you, John is in an element that I haven't seen in years. We actually had the pleasure of waking up with him a few times in the morning, me and Z, which has been special because he's taken the past few weeks off and he's been eating and eating and eating. He hasn't lost any toenails. He seemed to be recovering. This week he got back into the gym, started walking, jogging a little bit, right?
Walking, yep. Jogging a little bit, little dog walks in the morning.
Getting back on it soon.
Trying.
Soon.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about when you felt on the trail that you were falling behind and when you kind of started doubting yourself.
Well, I mean, doubt was kind of consistent throughout the whole thing. You know, but one minute you believe in yourself and one minute you don't. That just kind of goes with the territory. You just got to kind of ride those things out. But hard reality, you know, was after the whites, after my, I was feeling good after the whites. I felt like we were pretty neck and neck. And then the torn quad kind of messed things up significantly and really scared me. I mean, right when I tore or injured my quad, I thought I was done. Like, I was like, oh, well, and then I remember Jurek and Christian Morgan. Bugs are loud. Christian Morgan, you know, they kind of came back from their quad injury, so I just kept going with it, and I was at, you know, I lost several miles the first day, and then I just kept losing more miles, and then I think I was eventually getting it back, and that's kind of when I was like, I'm losing ground, and started getting worried.
Well, I felt like there was a time during the whites where you fell a little behind and you started kind of, you know, we talked to John as often as we could. We wake up to videos from him and we would feel his emotions and tell if he was feeling good or not. And you kind of got down about a week before you called it quits. That Saturday morning before was the most down that I heard you. And that was the day that you also went through the oat field or whatever field you went through and had the allergic reaction. So I think you fell a little behind, you had the quad injury, which was really slowing you down, and then you had this allergic reaction. You said your legs were bleeding and it just was miserable. You just were no longer enjoying it and really thinking about giving up. But the next day we get this video from you, it's like, I'm gonna do this, you know.
It
just
really
like
high,
the trail, a lot of highs and lows.
A lot of highs and lows, but at some point towards the end of it, the emotions kind of went away, like, and it was just business. I didn't care if I was in pain or not. And then it just came down to, I was proud that I got through all the emotional parts, because I didn't really acknowledge the highs or the lows anymore. I was just out there and that's what I was going to do. But the issue was time and speed. And so I just didn't have it. It could have been due to injury. It could have just been from undertraining. There's definitely a lot of things that I would do my training differently. Have a lot more knowledge now, but for me it was about time, and I wasn't there to hike the AT.
And in the next couple of days, and Carl's record, where you quit a couple days early, and he had like a 17 mile day, and I was just really hoping that you could hang in there and get a 50-miler day that day and be right back caught up. But as John explained to me the day he called me and told me he was going to come on home, was that I'm just getting slower and my body's not getting the time, the sleep it needs to repair and recover. And I think I understood that a lot better. It's like I can get the mileage, but it's taking me 17 hours a day, and that's too long on the trail and not enough recovery time to get faster.
Yeah, so I would do like a big day, and then it'd be like, oh great, we're having another good day, and then I'd go out the next day with very little sleep and I'd just be zapped. And so it's so hard because I wasn't recovering. I mean, if I stood up, my crew was scared of me standing up just because how bad I looked. And how shaky I was when it was, I was just getting slower and slower. It was just a slow death. And that's what and I told Carl this is what I was afraid of from the beginning. But it also, in hindsight, it's just like, to your point, I know you're like, you should have stayed out there. You should have pushed a little bit longer. So I don't know if I could have kept going and maybe got it back. You know, a big inspiration for me was always Jennifer Farr Davis and how she just hiked it. just out there. She just was having an amazing hike because her and Carl were neck and neck, and maybe I should have stayed out there. And even Carl said I should have stayed out there. So I don't know if I should have called it. To me at the time, it made a lot of sense, and maybe, there's some regret of not keeping going, and then there's also like, no, I think you made the right call. So, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I'm actually okay with the decision. I felt like I'm better now, and that I still feel like I can do it.
Yeah, because I think there might have been a little bit of regret at first, but then like by day 4 of you being home, you were like, I feel awful.
Yeah,
I
I
am
felt pretty
so
bad.
glad that I hung it up,
Felt pretty
and you
bad.
can see that he's sleeping a lot, eating a lot, like your body was really craving all of that. But take us back to, that Friday night, you left me a message or sent me a text probably like 5 a.m. the next Saturday morning whenever you were deciding to come home. And so did you think about that when you came in that night, on that Friday night, or did you just wake up and say, I'm just done?
No. So I did, I think I did a little over 50 miles that day. And I went to sleep angry, like, oh, I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm just going to go hammer it and I'm going to beat myself into the ground. Because I knew it was a big day, and I got in late again. I think I went to bed at like 11, maybe a little bit past that. And then I woke up at 3, and man, I woke up at 3 and I was hurting. I was like, oh my God. And what's hard about the AT is that every morning you start going up because you're sleeping on roads, right? And so usually these roads are through passes, and then you have to go up a mountain. So you wake up and you climb. And I remember I could just barely stand up, and I was just hobbling. And it's like, this day, I'm not gonna even be able to do 30 miles today. Again, it was the morning. I should have kept going. So there is some regret there because I know I always get stronger as I go throughout the day. But this was a little bit of a different day because I was like, I could barely walk. So I don't know. There is some regret, and there's also like, same time I get like, no, I was in bad shape, and maybe I prevented myself from getting more injury, but who's to know?
I mean, that had to be a tough decision for you. You did 50 miles the day before, which is incredible, and then you get up and here you are in the thick of it. You've got a crew out there, you got everyone behind you, everyone supporting you, cheering you on. I know it's a lot of pressure from the outside. It had to be a really tough decision to say, I'm done.
It was, and nobody wanted to call it, especially the crew. They said just go back out there, and I tried to go back there. Actually, I started climbing back up the mountain, and I was like on hands and knees, like it wasn't good. And then like 10 minutes later, I started coming back down. I was like, I can't. So what we did was we went back to sleep. I was like, I need more sleep. I have to sleep. And what really sucks about that is because I was already going slow. And I was like, so we woke up, I think we got up at, it's like, let's just go to bed at 6 or 7 or something like that, or wake up around 6 or 7. We woke up around that time, and it really wasn't much of a difference. I was a little bit more rested, still in pain, and I had to do 50 miles that day. So I was like, there's just no way I can keep.
And you'd already missed like 4 hours. I know, like
That's
I
right.
woke up to it. I know a lot of you at home were following him and rooting for him, and obviously we were all feeling those emotions. Back here at home with Z, like I saw the text, and I got up immediately and talked to John for like an hour, and I was like, I really don't think you should. But he was like, well, I've already lost 4 hours at this point, and it was pretty clear that he'd kind of already made up his mind, and he knows his body best. Obviously, I don't. But for Z, man, he was heartbroken.
Yeah, Z was heartbroken. That was really hard on me. Yeah, speak of the devil.
Yeah, here he is. So. Okay, well, we'll try to do some other updates, but I just wanted to get to the update about whenever you decided to hang it up.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
See you guys. Oh, we have some more updates coming. I actually think we're going to be speaking at Fleet Feet this week. So just kind of going over the whole thing. I think Jack's going to be there as well. So that should be pretty cool. And we'll videotape that for people who are not local. So, and I'll put a lot more detail into that. And I'm sorry for the shakiness. Please don't shake the chair. Thank you, buddy. All right. Speak to you guys soon. Take care.